watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever.
As far as won't take me, the highest fall it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me.
I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Today's matchup. JAG GreenWings. KT Rolster. The Fantastic Run.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2018. I'm Atlas, this is Papa Smithy. We're up to our final match of the night, and it could be a spicy one. KT versus JAG. Yes, it looks like top of the table versus bottom of the table, but this is exactly where KT thrives when it comes to giving us entertaining matches.
And standings implications, of course.
Oh,
this
aplenty.
is 1 week exactly before we will be starting our last best of 3 of the regular season Thursday night next week. This week, it's about whether KT can climb to first place if they win by any scoreline, 2-0 or 2-1, because they own the head-to-head against Griffin. They will be our first team. They will jump from 4th to 1st. They will also guarantee playoffs for KT Rolster. KT traditionally, when they're in these spots, lose, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whenever they're set up to succeed, this is usually where the failure comes through, but KT have looked good. They beat BBQ in a series. We won't use any descriptors for it, but it was a series.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Let Reddit decide on what to use as far as adjectives to describe that series, and we'll just move on from that one and see whether they can take down JAG GreenWings, because this is what happens as far as implications if they can win. You can see it will be securing their spot in the playoffs and also first place at this point in the regular season run. As KT, unlike a lot of our teams, have 3 more matches to go if we include this one.
And again, if you reach 5 match wins on either JAG or JAG, or in our first series for MVP, BBQ is confirmed to be relegated into that relegation zone. JAG were able to pick up that big victory over Griffin. And remember, last time we saw a team pick up a victory and wondered how they do against top 5, BBQ Olivers beat a FLICKR Freaks. So this is a really interesting one where KT is set up to win. They pulled off a surprise in selection. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. It'll be confirmed very shortly. JAG GreenWings, though, on the blue side. Last time they started with Cacao. Last time they started with Justice. This time they go back to the 2 with the winning. Last time out, and Grace in the starting line.
Yeah, they got MVP one after the other. Grace first, then Teddy. Teddy with his Jhin, 45% of his team's damage. Just ridiculous stuff. On that pick, decided to go with the Fleet Footwork as well, not the Hail of Blades like we've been seeing recently. We'll see whether he tries that one on. As you can see, big grins in the JAG booth. This is a team trying to escape relegation, yes. They're not in a race for playoffs, and they've played spoiler before. They were the ones that kicked out Hanwha Life at the very end of the season in spring when they were the Rocks Tigers.
That's a spring example. Again, they just played spoiler for Griffin's hopes of finishing
damn
first,
right they did.
They're ready to spoil plenty of parties, are the JAG GreenWings.
But is the spoiling even going to be anything to do with them? As KT, when they lose a game, they tend to lose it all by themselves. And let's see who's going to be joining the roster.
It's a selection
to take
party.
us into it. Okay. Have a look in that mid lane. It's Pawn. He's made his way back. Smeb, Score, Deft, and Marta going to be alongside him. This is the original Super Team KT roster. We haven't seen Pawn so far this season at all. And even towards the end of spring season as well, he's barely played so far, but Hopefully he's feeling good, and that's a smile on his face. Pawn's often pretty stoic in the middle
hold
seat.
on. Remind me, Atlas.
Yep.
How much winning did that super team do?
Not a lot.
None at all, in fact.
Well, when it came to the pivotal
They
game,
won the Kesper
they had
Cup.
some really good matches.
They won the Kesper Cup, but it wasn't this lineup either.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true.
at the end of the day, well, hard to say what to make of Pawn in the mid lane. Now, of course, it is going to be the ability to get some match time into him. And look, he was there in the Kesper Cup. KT Rolster did win it, but it was a bit of a different status. Here we are, though, in a match that does propel them to first. They come in fourth because they've only played 15 best of threes. They can move very easily to first if they win by any scoreline. They won in the first round robin. They're coming off a victory. KT Rolster, it's all set up for them to succeed, but Pawn for game number 1 is an interesting choice.
Yeah, and we'll see whether UCal's going to be subbed in for game number 2. Still, a pretty incredible second round robin, 5-1 so far, and eclipsing the GreenWings GreenWings as far as KDA. Understandable given their positions on the standings. 8th place as far as Team KDA for GreenWings is certainly bad news. Bears, the KT Rolster, a team that with a 2-1 or 2-0 here could be in first place, are still only 4th when it comes to the KDA rankings, but GreenWings GreenWings have never been able to play spoiler to KT Rolster, which makes the KT senses tingle even more.
That's right. This lineup undefeated against GreenWings GreenWings. KT Rolster, very, very talented in every role. Don't know what to make of Pawn. We did scouting. Of course, he's not playing on any of his accounts because, you know, that's just how pro gamers roll.
Because he hides everything. It's so frustrating. I did a little bit of research myself, having a look at last year and the stats of the champions that he played, because the meta was a little bit more similar then, given the rise of Orianas and things like that.
Let's talk about first the second round robin here for KT Rolster. First round robin, 5-4. Pretty poor, all things considered. 5-1 so far in the second round robin. They've beaten everyone except Kingzone, Hanwha, and MVP. It's not the hardest of schedules remaining. So KT Rolster do have that inside track for first spot in the regular season and to skip all the way to the grand final.
And GreenWings want to at least get one victory, and they want to do it a very similar way that they did against Griffin last time we saw them. Grace picking up that MVP with a perfect KDA 4-0-3 in game number 2, and then Teddy bringing it home versus the Kaiser on the bottom side of the map, 7-1-2 on the Jin. And honestly, when the last teamfight was about to break out, Teddy made it completely irrelevant by just killing someone before any fight could even start.
And Teddy's quality is never going to be an understated thing, just like the top laner of KT.
Oh, yeah.
Known for his quality. We saw Kingen come in for one game, but Smeb very quickly back into the lineup. He knows about the Gnar, he knows about the Kennen. I'd love to see him put on a similar performance like we saw from Tal yesterday on that AP Kennen. And be such a big pick for Smeb. His Rumble is always around the corner. And when it comes to Pawn in the mid lane, all of his champions are back. Oriana, Azir, Corki are all back in the meta.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up as well. I mean, even his Galio, he can play that. We've seen that be banned as recently as our last series. We're going to highlight the jungle, though. Umti versus Score is always a fun one because Umti likes to get down and dirty very early. Score known for his pathing jungling. Hasn't been Umti's season so far this time, as we highlight the Kindred for Umti. Again, Score is a hilarious stat.
It is his series, though, last time out, that victory over Griffin a few days ago. Really good interview with Inven Global given by Umti, talking about how he's getting very emotional around games recently. Love rejected by Score. Well, that's I don't know if Score should be doing that. The smite might not be going his way.
Yeah.
He can't really afford to take any liberties when it comes to the good feels around this jungle battle.
Yeah, don't make Umti angry. You won't like it when he's angry. See whether he can actually punish Score for that rejection. As you can see, everyone looking over at the booth on the side of Jin. I'm peering down, having a look. There's definitely death in Teddy's eyes. I can see that. And that's always a frightening thing. But let's have a look at what the fans think. Always a little bit scary voting for KT Rolster, but not too many people were scared this time. 80% in favor of KT Rolster. My goodness. The Monka S must be running out in chat at the moment.
4 out of 5 people got excited, Atlas. KT
Oh,
Rolster come
God.
in, big favorites. They've only dropped 3 games. No series to GreenWings in 2 years in this organizational battle ever since the Super Team was put together. But in Korea, the Super Team is only ever used ironically. Can KT Rolster seize their opportunity and jump to first, or will the cavalcade of teams at the top remain unchanged after this series?
We'll have to find out. It's all up to Jin Air, and it's all up to this champion select as well. As Jin Air will start on our blue side. Yasuo, immediately banned away from Pawn, was always a pocket pick of his, looming, lying in wait.
Yukal also a person that you banned the Yasuo against, so I guess Jin Air just sticking with what they would have banned against Yukal as well.
Interesting.
Reminder, guys, Pawn in the lineup today. No signing of Rush. I imagine Yukal and Rush are around. I saw Yukal in the back, so he's definitely here.
Yeah, he's definitely there.
KT, ban away the 2 champions you now have to ban. You're freed of a Nocturne ban, so KT will get a target ban against the side of Jin Air, who banned LeBlanc. Maybe that means the Orianna priority will jump up to first pick.
Well, Pawn has always been a fantastic LeBlanc player, so just taking one of his pocket picks away. Tahm Kench going to be the choice here, which leaves open the Shen, and Jin Air snap it up immediately.
Very interesting that Shen priority is back to first pick status, but of course Mada's Shen has turned around games where they had no engage, and he's made taunt flashes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Becomes so important. This is at the cost of any jungler, many other big picks like the Orianna, an old comfort pick for Pawn. So let's see what KT want to take in the first round.
Certainly taking their time, but Alistar to be considered for Mada, giving him all of that control and power around this map. Having engage options on Mata is a fantastic win condition here for KT, and they'll take the Trundle as well, not giving away anything.
Is it time for the matchup? Is Kindred coming out for He's got a Shen support to potentially do some playmaking. Sejuani and Skarner are the more standard options into this matchup. The Orianna we mentioned seems set up by the LeBlanc ban on blue side. I'm sure Pawn would be willing to play the Varus or the another long-range champion, the Azir, also a career most played for him as well. Yep. But it's going to be the Orianna taken on the blue side. Very, very standard so far in the draft.
Yep, a lot of options for Pawn. He can take his Corki of old
into
that one as well. We were discussing what Pawn's old champion pool used to be, even going back as far as 2015. It's been certainly well and truly the meta at the moment. Grace to lock in the final pickup here. Could be Ezreal just to lock down that very standard Hanwha-esque bottom lane, but nope. The Kindred is going to be taken by Umpty. We're going to see this matchup yet again. A matchup that Trundle, I believe, owns the head-to-head in this season.
It's a bit like the Gnar versus Kennen going the way of Gnar.
Yeah.
The Alistar's already there compositionally to knock him out of the Lamb's Respite, or one person out of the Lamb's Respite. But let's see what Pawn will take. Final pick on red side. If you do want that Ezreal, you would imagine it would have to be taken at this pick, and it's always contested when KT and Jin Air on the Rift. But it's going to be Ryze first round, another very common Pawn champion. Yeah. Going to be locked in here. Could be a flex pick for Smeb as well, but traditionally been a mid lane pick for the side of KT. I'm ready for some Realm Warps and potentially some Mad Cows in the backline.
There's going to be some pretty crazy stuff, because we know that Pawn, when Realm Warp first got put onto Ryze, it was a pretty scary proposition for any KT fan, giving him a lot of ability to even go more aggressive than he used to. Fans coming in, though, as Teddy's Jhin gets a lot of respect here from KT.
Trying to kill some memes like Jin Air and Clean Air by banning away the Jhin, and that Jhin was that great performance from Teddy. In that third game against Griffin last time out, Jin Air doing some coverage of bans for the top side.
Yep.
So the GP, the one taken away so far. The moment you see Ryze GP, you get very worried about globals and the ability to rotate. So KT Rolster, very often about the mid-game power. They're actually going to ban away the Ezreals. They're just banning away what Jin Air like to play. The Varus priority probably going to go way up in this draft now.
Certainly is, especially when you need to try and have some lane control alongside the Shen. Could see an awesome dude in the hand of Teddy. Of course, Teddy, a notable Vladimir player on the bottom side, and has seen paired with the Shen.
Against Kindred, maybe the Ashe is also going to be a big one. We've seen Ashe skipped over earlier today, but can be a very big pick.
Okay.
If the Varus is banned, I feel like Ashe priority is through the roof based on the meta we've seen. See what the decision is here for KT. The Kai'Sa is going to be locked in. All right.
Of course it is.
That's definitely a Deft-esque champion there. He's been loving the Kai'Sa recently. I thought the Ashe maybe for more utility, but no utility needed is the decision by KT Rolster. Jin Air, they might actually digress from the marksman for Teddy. They're hovering over the Vladimir for now.
Yeah, not a lot of marksmen left available. As you were talking about, the Ashe feels like the last one remaining as far as the meta at the moment. So far just going to bide their time. The Kennen to be locked in here as KT almost a free Gnar pick on the top side of the map if they want it, even if the matchup can be difficult early and in the laning phase in general.
Or a free Jace pick if they want it also.
Oh yeah, very true.
The Jace is often taken into the Gnar and the cannon, but we'll wait and see what Smeb wants to play. Oh boy, now, Mordekaiser came out last time these two teams played on the side of KT Rolster.
There are so many circles in this composition.
Teddy's played it recently, but they're going to move away from it. The Smite Mordekaiser not really a thing after the funnel nurse with Monster Hunter on patch 8.14.
Yep.
This is KT Rolster's first match on 8.14. They're the last team to debut on this patch. Last pick here, I think the Jace is the one that makes a lot of sense.
Does stand out a little bit here for Smeb. Has been a fantastic pick for him. Seen a lot of bans as well recently. Up against the cannon, we'll see how it goes. But no, going to switch it back. Goes for that Ryze-Gnar combination that we saw used so much when Pawn was a mainstay on the roster here of KT Rolster.
So they want a bit more engaged. They have the Trundle Pillar, potentially for the Mega Gnar Ultimate to be registered against. So in the end, it is that Gnar matchup that is considered counterpick in other regions, would have been a counterpick on paper, but recently the Gnar have been doing so well where the runes are at on patch 8.14 in Korea. Deft could have gone a lot more into something like an Ashe, but decides to get a bit more optimistic here, pulls out the Kai'Sa. Does struggle to find different item builds that can deal with a Vladimir. I wonder if it's going to be Corrupting Pot Kai'Sa, try to get through an annoying laning phase against the Vlad.
Yeah, it could be a difficult one. KT setting themselves up to have incredible amounts of engage options. Basically everything is there to help KT start a fight. However, if Jin Air get themselves a foothold in this game, it'll be very hard for KT to have a lot of options as we move further forward. Kai'Sa, if she's stifled, is going to basically do nothing. Gnar could potentially be held down.
It could be 3 losing lanes, theoretically. Yeah. That hasn't been the trend for these matchups, and we respect KT as players, but they certainly haven't looked for win lane, win game in this draft. They've been happy to take some blind picks and also to opt into Ryze versus Orianna, which is traditionally an Orianna favorite matchup. So unless we can see the jungle pathing here take over the game, and Score has done that multiple times in summer season, could actually be a lot of a struggle in the early game before KT can get their composition together in the mid to late.
But there's just so many options here for Umti to play around a very strong level 2 and then a continuation until that Lamb's Respite comes in. Jin Air have so many options moving into this one. We'll see whether KT can buck the trend in the laning phase and take down Jin Air in game 1. Well, plenty of KT Rolster fans here in the audience at the Soli Stadium tonight. It's basically a packed house as Teddy already running away from the engage of KT Rolster.
Reveals that he took Q, so maybe the flash on top would work, because this is a nice fan sign here. Everyone
back,
worshipping Pawn, who makes his return. It's actually been a very long time since Pawn has played in the LCK. I believe it was against Gen G, then KSV, 10th of March, 146 days ago.
Wow.
The last time that Pawn played. Really feels like a veteran of the scene, but when he won that 2014 World Championship, and remember guys, we have a World Champion mid laner starting. The first one of recent memory, given that FLICKR and Brown have been on the
first
bench.
one to make his way back.
But Pawn makes his way back. When he started that World Final, he was 17 years of age. 4 years later, only 21. Still very young, despite Pawn being one of the big names on the scene for a very long time.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see whether he's going to be able to change KT's fate here, as the BBQ series certainly made a lot of KT Rolster fans very nervous. And I know that's probably just a general state of being a KT Rolster fan, but still, it's not a great feeling.
KDA battle between Umti and Score not working out for him. We do feel like Jin Air have some nice lanes to play around, though. They're not necessarily 80-20 lanes or anything like that, but there's definitely been metas where on-hit Cannon has been able to beat the Gnar. The Orianna traditionally does very well into Ryze after a few levels, short of some jungle ganks. And Deft is going to have precious few items that he can really do to match the awesome dude Vladimir coming through from Teddy. So unless we can see Score have a big performance, you'd think KT are going to have to be pretty respectful in the laning phase.
Yeah, and I feel like KT can play around a tempo advantage if they manage to find one. However, looking on the other side, Jin Air's play with tempo this game will be out of control, because that's exactly what Kindred does. You know, she roams into your jungle, takes away your camps, builds up the marks. has the despicable range whilst stifling you at the same time. And if they can utilize these good lanes that they've already crafted for themselves, it will be an opportunity for them to snowball this pretty damn hard.
They have a lot of vision information about where Score is, so they know this is a free gank onto Smeb. There's no chance of a counter gank here. They know he's bot side.
Yep, Meganar is going to come in. We'll see whether Umti actually waits for that one. He's going to move on over, understanding that the hop is not going to be available. The Fat Flash will be necessary here, potentially, but Smeb's just going to do the full walk around. Boulder is going to slow down Umti. Not going to find the wallop, as this last shot is going to do a lot of damage. Shot does come in, but they get the flash.
Get the flash out of Smeb. No flash used by Umti and so on. Good gank timing. No chance of a turnaround. So a freebie for the side of Umti. Won't lose his blue either. He used all of his mana pool to pull off that gank, but he will refill his mana very easily. So that's going to be a nice little advantage already for the Kennen. We'll see if someone can want to run away with this lane in a way that other top laners have struggled to do in this Kennen matchup.
See, Pawn's already teleporting back to this mid lane. May have ran out of his mana shoving away forward, or maybe just ran into too many dissonances.
Well, the last time we had Ori versus Ryze, there was things that worked for the Ryze. He had the ability to use the minion dematerializer to AoE clear much easier in the early levels. That is now gone. Teleport is a bit more punishing to be used as well, so the timings there are different. So, given the Ryze has been directly and indirectly nerfed, he can't go for the tier back first up, be as greedy about it as he used to be able to.
Yeah, not so much. We actually saw this from Lava's Ryze as well in a winning game for Hanwha Life in our first series of the night, and he also went for the Corrupting Potion and Dark Seal on his first back. Was a little bit forced into it, but you can see it's working out here for Pawn at the moment, even if it does delay the tier by just a little. Vision going to be cleared away here from Jinair in the jungle. Eyes are going to be on Umti to see whether he can get any of his lanes ahead here in this early game.
If Deft and Mata can just scale and go CS for CS and bot side, you definitely feel like the blind Kai'Sa pick would be a successful one. Risky lane to opt into, but Deft has been the most staunch Kai'Sa player in recent memory. Other people have tried to copy and found mixed results, but Deft has only picked up one defeat on his Kai'Sa so far this season.
And just need to shout out to Score and, of course, the bottom lane from KT Rolster here as well, denying a mark by having control of the bottom lane. Certainly fantastic news to slow down the Kai'Sa, and Score actually thinking about turning this into an Infernal Drake as well. Not the largest health pool of the Drakes, so should be able to get this one done, and KT aren't even going to be moving up from the bottom side. Umti, see whether he jumps on over as Pawn has given away the location, given the fact that he has roamed towards this river.
KT making a big investment on this. Will Umti try to steal? He will!
He's going to jump forward, but there's a smite from Score. You know you can trust Score with a smite from Smithy.
Hey, Score is only as good as his last smite. This
And
will
his
not
last
be
one
a
was
meme
good,
killer.
yeah.
So, yep, he's got one, but I'm waiting for the Baron smites where Score, you know, that's usually where we see his true colors.
That is true. All right, well, memes aside, definitely good for KT to grab that Infernal Drake. Next one going to be a Mountain, so we're not messing around when it comes to the Drake RNG in our final matchup of the night.
We're not messing around as Deft. He's found an item to rush. He's rushed
Good
to death.
God.
Execution is calling as the Kai'Sa.
Is there can you actually buy for lane more than these two items right now? I don't think you possibly could.
You know, he's definitely getting in there.
Yeah.
On this item build, there's no Vampiric Scepter items that fit into the Kai'Sa early. Wants to probably go for the Stormrazor, and he's going to delay the Stormrazor timing. We're not on patch 8.15 when Stormrazor is basically free with all the cost buffs to the crit marksman, but going to go for as much laning as possible. And if that helps him endure the laning phase and get to 2 items, maybe it's worth it from Death.
I think it's actually really cool, though. You know, you build, you bring Stormrazor into the game, you completely change Infinity Edge, and it's as if, based on the patches, we've learned how to construct it with cheaper materials, you know? So now it's, you know, just a pickaxe and you can get an Infinity Edge, just a longsword, and you can get yourself a Stormrazor. It's like we figured it out.
I like to think it's economies of scale, and Riot has just moved the production facility closer to Summoner's Rift, so they don't have to deal with those postage fees anymore.
I like it. I've done that before. Okay, Pawn gonna clear out the minion wave as Grace is having a pretty happy time up against the Ryze, but Pawn's farming things out very, very well. Now with his tier in hand, he's scaling that one forward. Smeb moves up. He's got some pretty good items against an on-hit Kennen in a bit of extra health and some Ninja Tabis.
Not seeing Grace take over this lane just yet, but with the W buffs, you have to think the dissonance is going to be annoying.
Well, there's a shockwave.
Wrong way, though.
Yeah, it's going to move Pawn to the right direction as he's just going to run away. Flash comes in. Red buff is going to be enough, and Umpty gets the first blood.
Man, a calculation just on there. Exactly burned him to death. Nicely done by Jinair. Thought the moment that they gave him an extra 200 units towards his turret, it'd be enough, but the kill is still registered. Score trying to answer the kill on the bottom side.
Well, Teddy's going to move forward. There's a Sanguine pull very early. The pillar is going to be important. They get a flash. And Nova, fantastic use of his dodge field. He is going to be able to save himself underneath that turret as well and saves his flash.
Okay, so to reiterate, you get a summoner down bot. Very nice use of taunt. Gets Nova out when no summoners being used. Pawn dies in the laning phase and did self-counterpick himself a bit. I feel like not much changed about Pawn as a player.
Yeah.
We were discussing the topic of tactical inters yesterday, and Pawn is definitely top 3.
And we were discussing this between ourselves as well, and I'm glad that you say top 3 because I think Darian definitely needs a shout out.
Look, I said tactical inters. Marin, Pawn. I don't know if I give Darian that credit.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. I can see your point. That being said,
we cast so many games in the LPL of Pawn just dying.
Yeah. Oh.
And it worked because Deft was so good in the bot lane that Pawn created a distraction, and eventually Deft had his items and won the game.
Yeah, we'll see whether it's going to happen now because that's exactly what they need. They need Kai'Sa to have as much room to move this game as possible, and if Pawn's being a nuisance on the rest of the map...
People think this is Flame, but like some of those games by a Pawn in the LPL...
Yeah, no, that was straight up the EDG strategy.
I saw him play TF into Kassadin, which already was a good Kassadin matchup at the time. He would just run in and die.
Yep,
Speaking of running in and dying.
played as Smed's going to jump out. Slicing Maelstrom's in there, though. Umpty is looking for his second successful gank, and he'll get it. Picks it up. 2-0 now for Jinair. We knew this could happen, but Jinair, they've been playing it real nice around their jungler.
Okay, well, KT Rolster are giving Jinair a nice head start in a must-win series for KT Rolster.
Yep.
The Liberties have been taking this series. Game's definitely not over, and KT are rotating.
We got a Realm Warp available here for Pawn as well as Nova. He does still have his flash available, but Teddy is going to get dove underneath this turret. Remember, this is a Vladimir, though. He's probably going to have a good time, but man, that burst damage came out of nowhere. Pawn's going to answer that first blood death in the mid lane with a kill bottom side, but first turret is going to go down top of the map. Nothing KT can do about it. And Jinair make the tempo play.
Rotation down is nice from Grace. Just wants to be able to stop the bot lane turret going down. Stop the Kai'Sa getting any more gold than she already has, and she's going for a slow build. Pickaxe and the execution is calling. All she's claimed so far. Umpty can also get that hand in the cookie jar and take away a mark that's number 3 at 10 minutes. If he can get the 4th one soon, that would be really big for the side of Jinair GreenWings. Still things going better than expected for Jinair. KT were always going to need time in this comp. They increased the amount of time with the slow build coming through from Deft and Teddy in the mid lane. Just would like to pawn.
And Pawn would just like to kill the Kindred if he could. You saw that's the Pawn way of life, is to move towards someone if they've just become 2 people in the mid lane. Differences between Yukal and Pawn. Certainly one of them there, as he's going to continue walking it, Umpty.
You would have to imagine this change was for the best of 5 phase. Yukal, pre-Rift Rivals, I thought he was up and down. He actually had a very lean patch towards the start of the summer season.
I think so
Since
too.
Rift Rivals, been very good. His Yasuo is permabanned because of how good he's performed on that pick. So with best of 5s coming up, just like they gave Rush experience in the final best of 3 of spring season, if you're going to put Pawn on the active roster, remember he wasn't in the first round robin.
Yeah.
He was elevated to the roster again in the second round robin, so it makes sense to give him a bit of game time before those best of 5s come out. KT would really prefer to only play one of them, but with a start like this, chances of the 2-0 over Jinair have definitely taken a half step back.
And also, you don't necessarily know that they want to, because also, start of this game alludes to the fact that maybe they want to run as much of the gauntlet as possible, Papa Smithy.
KT Rolster.
Yeah. And, you know, every single KT Rolster fan knew that something like this could happen, as Umpty once again is going to find a target. His Kindred is very strong. It's the first few auto attacks. And the dance of arrows is going to be enough to really make sure Score is not going to be playing aggressive bottom side. Killer Instinct available from Deft.
And Deft's been able to farm really nicely. He's up 14 CS. So far the attention has worked, even if it's not to a kill.
There's the flash taunt though, yeah. Hemo Plate's going to come down as well. As Deft used the ultimate, that shield is going to be enough to keep him alive. Gets himself out of the way, holds on to the flash because the ult was there.
Nova with incomplete information, doesn't know Trundle's in the brush, and thus unable to pick up the kill. And now his flash and ignite are on cooldown. We can see Kennen lying in wait. It's not an AP Kennen, so the turret dive threat a little bit lower.
Well, Umpty looking for this Mountain Drake as well, as this turret's getting taken down very, very quickly. Vaughn has that passive shield. One more minion remains, but man, this is some good damage from Jenner on the mid turret just by rotating the cannon over.
635 health on that turret. Thank you to the OGN Observer here. What do we say about Jenner? They have the winning lanes in the early game in basically all 3 lanes. If top lane starts rolling, it's even in CS, but the kill, credit, and also the turret have gone down. This is very much them trying to increase the pace of the game, stop KT from stabilizing, stop Def from being able to farm even 1 item, let alone 2 or 3 when the Kai'Sa usually takes off, and that's why getting as much turret gold as possible, getting that standing gold pre-20 would be big for the side of Jinne.
Certainly a good idea, however, this bottom lane outer turret stands to fall now in favor of KT. Pawn actually slinking down towards that bottom side as KT once again considering diving Teddy on the Vladimir.
Orianna won't be able to be there this time, so that's why the Rise shouldn't be answered. Omti cannot walk up to the tri-brush, that'd be suicide.
And Mata is going to jump in here, doesn't find the pulverize as the pillar comes down as well. They invest a lot, and the slow now onto Mata could be a problem. Not going to have killer instinct, but the Void Seeker going to be enough to deter Umti.
They don't have a minion wave, so they can't actually get any turret damage down. Grace gets back to mid lane. No cost to the play, but no benefit for the side of KT apart from more minion waves into depth.
Yeah, Pawn going to be able to eat up another one in the mid lane as well and continue moving down bottom side. He's got himself his Merc Treads, now moving towards his Seraph's Embrace most likely.
That is the rush these days. No Rod of Ages anymore. Onto the Rise. Just going into situational items a bit earlier. Has definitely worked out. Does mean he's eminently squishy. And Kindred and Orianna will make fast work of a tier-only Rise.
Well, see whether Pawn's going to be building it a little bit differently here. Seen a few different choices as far as order of items to come in. Spellbinder pretty strong at the moment on the Rise. Movement speed's always been a great stat for him.
Speaking of movement speed, we don't see Predator onto Teddy. It's a different domination tree choice. He's gone for Electrocute, try to punish the Kai'Sa in lane. Kai'Sa has heal. Notice that Teddy has that teleport, so map plays here. Gonna require the Realm Warp to be able to find any parity if you're KT Rolster.
And also some of Teddy's plays around teleporting, around flanking on these Vladimirs has been basically mid laner-esque, who's been playing the champion for years and years. Teddy's really come into his own on champions like this, as Jinne setting themselves up to try and take down this outer turret in the mid lane, and should be able to do so relatively easily. That's going to extend that gold lead above 2,000 as Mata looking for a potential engage. Okay, Dissonance going to give Jinne some freedom to roam their way out. 4 members are here. Kai'Sa not too able to move towards that top side, but Teddy down here as well because he sees the red dots.
If you watch KT's macro this game, all the setup has been around can def free farm. That's really all they've been able to claim in the early game, is find more and more chance to free farm, but he's paid a tax already. He spent 800 gold on Executioner's Calling. Looking for Umti, they might find the pincer.
Yeah, there's the flash headbutt pulvers, in goes Def. They're on the wrong side. Jinne GreenWings, but there's 4 members here and Score caught out of position. In goes Smeb, he's got a Naba in a fantastic spot. Wants to find his way forward, but doesn't actually get there. Flash from Sohan because of the amount of respect for the engage is now Teddy. Might found himself in a good position. Flashes forward with the Emo Plague. Mata wants to find his way in as well as KT very softened from the Vladimir damage. Another double pulverize. As KT, do they want to engage or disengage? Mata says engage, but they say no. Slicing Maelstrom in the backline for Jinne GreenWings, and KT just gets slaughtered. Deft, the last man standing. Somehow Smeb is going to survive, but Deft is not going to be as lucky. Teddy grabs that kill. It's a KT disaster in the early game.
Cacophony of failure by KT Rolster. They fail to understand where they're at in so many different ways. Let's talk about this. Remember, it's 4v5 already at this moment. The Trundle goes down. We've seen, unfortunately, a lot of games where the 4-man Hemoplague's been perfect, but it's too early in the game for the damage to register. But KT re-engage. Mata goes in when the teleport's still up on the cannon. He shows up in the backline and says, thank you very much. They don't kill Smeb, who gets away on single-digit HP, but they do get the cannon sorry, the Kai'Sa on the back end. Kai'Sa still doesn't have any items, and now it's a 5,000 gold lead on for Jin Air.
Yeah. And, I mean, if you're a KT fan and you didn't predict this, then shame on you, to be perfectly honest, because this is exactly what KT do, and this is the Pawn KT of old that we're used to. They can still certainly turn this one around. They did against BBQ in similar situations, but I don't think it was this dire. And GreenWings, GreenWings, they're on a tear at the moment. They just came off a victory themselves against Griffin of all teams. And yes, KT have certainly had their number in the past, but this is not a Jin Air that you can take lightly. KT are getting bitten for their over-aggression.
They're definitely just making one-step plays. They're not making 2 or 3-step plays. The only play they've made this game is Kai'Sa getting a lot of gold? And the answer was yes to that. They were successful on that. The comp they put together opened up a lot of losing lanes. Their play calling has been poor in terms of conception because they've not respected things like teleports and enemy jungle pathing from level 1. had score on a ward and thus was able to rotate around him. Jin Air already did a favor for KT by taking down Griffin. They may also take down KT as well and throw this first place race into utter chaos.
Yep, it's complete turmoil, and then Gen G become the potential favorites for first place. I mean, I don't even know how to work out what the LCK is doing at the moment, considering it's so incredibly close, but man, it's exciting.
Gen G probably have...
difficult word to say this series.
Gen G probably have the easiest strength of schedule. They have Jin Air themselves, but if we know one thing about Gen G, they will play ultra standard ambition, defensive macro, and not make the same sort of mistakes KT often. They will not choose multiple losing lanes. Ruler or Core JJ will counterpick the bot lane. We know how Gen G play, and the difference between KT and Gen G is that Gen G play Gen G style against all the other teams. KT play up and down compared on who they're facing.
Yep. KT will just play roulette style with almost everyone. It's okay. Is there a time in this game where KT's composition just gets better? Is Deft going to reach that tipping point, and if so, when is it going to be? Papa Smithy?
I think yes and no. There's always going to be certain outplay potential when Kennen, Vladimir, and Orianna involved. There's a lot of wombo that can come in, but Kindred has that weird identity. Taking a Baron's going to be hard for Jin Air. They don't have much ability to tank the Baron, then peel off it and make it a engage play. So there's definitely areas around this game that are more tricky for the side of Jin Air, and they have the easy objectives down at 20 minutes. So while it's a nice lead, they definitely haven't gotten over the hump. In terms of just hard, like, if they run at each other in the mid lane, who wins? Does KT eventually outscale? I wouldn't necessarily say so.
Yeah.
I mean, they have more balanced damage types for sure. The physical damage is the Kindred, who's very unreliable, and also the on-hit cannon, which is going to be, again, mixed damage at best. Kai'Sa can definitely win a fight or die instantly, depending on how the fight goes. So it's pretty even, all things considered, and already we're seeing plays like this that seem pretty desperate.
Yeah, Pawn's going to realm walk, but we've got Stand United available, and the taunt immediately comes in. Oh, God, okay, in comes Kai'Sa, and that is going to save Pawn's life and grab them a kill on the bottom side. They should be able to grab this outer turret, but the backs are looming, and there's only Score to defend this inner turret topside with Shelly, ready to smack her head into it.
And that means they're going to have a lot of threat here. That's definitely an inner turret dead. Score going to be slowed down, but not going to die. KT have the Realm War. They always have the ability to get a pick and turn into Baron. That's something they can do, as we saw so deftly in the bot side, no pun intended, with the ability to fly in with the Kai'Sa and get one kill. If that doesn't happen, so many other areas of the game seem very comfortable for Jin Air. So it feels like KT already are looking to prey upon a Jin Air mistake.
Well, see whether they can actually do it, because it's still a long road. 4,000 gold approximately. Like 3.6, so not too bad here for KT after picking up their first turret of the game. But it's 1-4. Jin Air have control of the whole map, and when there's a Kindred on the team, that is certainly a great feeling if you're Jin Air.
Kai'Sa having an item, a nice start, and KT, like we mentioned, really all they claimed in the early game was farm parity for the Kai'Sa. 800 gold of which has been paid in a QSS-like tax to the Executioner's Calling. So, 2-item Kai'Sa, when that comes in, that'll be fun to see. Will we see the Rage Blade skip? Because some of our Kaisas are skipping it. Not in Korea, but around the world. You do see Rapid Fire Cannon second or Phantom Dancer second on the Kai'Sa. If the gold values are not there, feels really bad to skip Rage Blade because Rage Blade holds so much power. Stacking that plasma up quicker.
Also, yeah. Seen a bit of Runar's Hurricane as well previously on the Kai'Sa.
After the
Certainly
Supercharger nerf, a little bit less.
yeah.
But here we are at this juncture in the game. KT just setting up defensive macro. We already mentioned difficult for Jin Air to find more, to find Innitards, to find a Baron. And that's the good news story for KT, is that maybe they can delay until one teamfight execution will be enough for them to get back into the game.
And this is what you were illustrating before with that Baron doing a couple of autos to Umti and almost taking him down to half health. That was just from Score starting it up with the pillar. Thankfully now does 1 damage so that you can actually provoke Baron into battling someone trying to clear out your vision. KT will be able to at least have some vision in the back of the pit there of Baron.
Probably a Rage Blade coming out next to make Cannon completely oppressive in his build path to try to take down Smeb.
Yep, the recurve bow trifecta.
Could also just be something like a Phantom Dancer, but we haven't seen that build as much in summer with this last reintroduction of the on-hit cannon. Thanks to Cuvée for that one.
Yeah, having Wit's End and Blaze of the Rune King just feels a little bit too good to go the Rage Blade. But crazier things have happened. Teddy, aggressive positioning here around the Baron buff as Score being a living ward in the jungle. So they're going to sweep things out, spots the fact that Score is available here, but it doesn't get the reset. Has to invest his sweeper. Feels bad.
You hate to see it.
Oh, yeah.
He actually doesn't have the ability to crawl in to find that one onto the Krugs either, so only 1 ward taken.
Deft on a ward as well. The Score is just going to move back, but still able to make sure that Jin Air don't move any further forward as Teddy, he's going to, and Deft's going to take way too much damage from that one. Heal comes in from Mata as now Smeb gets a Sanguine pull out of Teddy. This might spell the go button here for Mata, who moves immediately forward to clear out this vision.
Teddy might have accidentally forced out a heal or just killed Deft if he started with Hemo Plague there, probably surprised by his own damage.
Yeah. He's got himself 2 items and a needlessly large rod on top of it as well. Teddy's in a great place on the Vladimir.
Deft has done some thrift shopping. He definitely has over 100 AD, but the attack speed evolution of the Supercharge is going to be delayed pretty significantly as a pickaxe, most likely on the way to the Rage Blade, a Hex Drinker. It's not to be popped by Orianna, Cannon, and Vladimir. Probably a required choice. That means Q evolve, yes. The E evolve, it's going to be delayed pretty significantly.
It is. Because he doesn't have any item slots left either. As we're having a look at the money, it's a 1,200 gold lead for Teddy there on that bottom side as the Orianna also farming up a Storm. 1, 0, and 4. Grace has just been slowly but surely moving to the point where these shockwaves are going to have to be mad respected on the side of KT Rolster if they want to stay alive in the later stages of the game.
So, we ask KT to show us why the Rise priority into Orianna. Why? Trusting on a comp that can pick and rotate, but not really too much else. Waiting to see if they can actually pull it off. We know KT can, but actually putting together this game, always something that we're unsure of. He skips along, it's going to be free Mountain Drake for the side of Jin. That's 3. And, Baron speed's certainly not going to be an issue now.
It's become a bit of an irrelevant point, I have to admit. And you like to talk about the fact that, you might have a composition that's not as great as Baron. You give anyone that, and it's going to be good. As Pawn trying to fight back here against Grace, does so pretty nicely and eats up a shockwave.
OGN there to confirm 30% bonus true damage to epic monsters and turrets provided by the 3-stack Mountain. Man, now I kind of want to see what happens if you run a Baron with the double-stack Elder. 60% bonus true damage.
I think it melts.
Okay,
that's
maybe I don't need to see it then.
That's another 9 minutes into this game where Jin Air is going to have even more items. And I don't think I need to see that either.
You know, I'm not very good at traveling. A lot of people love traveling. They want to see the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the sort of person who just Googles it, and I'm like, oh, that's what it would look like. And I'm kind of sated.
Okay.
So I think you spoiled the Mountain Drake Double Elder Dream. And, I don't need to see the Taj Mahal, so I got that going for me.
All right. I actually bought a model Taj Mahal, so I don't need to see that either.
What scale was it? 1-to-1 or?
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Nice.
I put it in my
You get
bed.
paid a lot more than me. I keep learning.
No, I just have a really big bedroom. It was cardboard. It took me forever to put it together.
Wait.
I didn't
You're the
spend
one that ruined the environment. That's a lot of cardboard for a 1-to-1 Taj Mahal.
It was all secondhand used cardboard, okay?
Okay. Well,
Also,
at least it was environmentally friendly cardboard.
Yeah. Don't worry about that.
Again, this Baron will be burnt as if it was cardboard. If we do see it started by the Kindred. Not so much by the Vladimir.
Well, still, Vision available here for KT. That control ward has spent a lot of time alive here in the back of the Baron pit as Umti desperately wants to clear it out and is going to finally be able to do so. As now Grace might find himself in a rough spot. There's a lot of control vision though, as he does have dissonance available to keep himself alive, keep himself in a safe spot. As Marta unfortunately accidentally places his control ward in the wrong spot and has to immediately replace it. Umti going to be able to get this one from over the wall, given the fact that Jin Air have moved their vision line into KT's jungle.
That's right. Our first place select is making desperation defensive macro plays against one of our relegation teams. Such is the LCK in summer of 2018.
Is it just
Rolster.
KT? Is it?
No.
Yeah.
Jin Air already. We've seen so many upsets already.
That's true. They beat Griffin
And Kingzone.
and King. Oh, good God.
BBQ beat FLICKR. This
Well,
is the new norm.
Well, let's just hope that Gen G doesn't do any losing, because they seem to be the last ones that don't. Red buff should be able to go over to Deft here.
Oh, I don't know if Score intentionally used his Gargoyle Stone Plate, or he must have felt really worried about dying because he Stone Plated to check for a ward. Okay.
I feel like Grace as well probably should be a little bit worried, but Umti, he's going to come in. It is a 2 versus 1 though in this instance. Umti looking to get over. I believe Score smited that one away.
Waiting for a mistake on either side. Kai'Sa ready to fly in. She's in range. And Kennen are distracting each other on the side. Smeb gave up on Buddha lane, as you guys can see. Spectre's Cowl and also the Bramble Vest.
Him and Cube are resident team fighters as Score flashes out of the way of the shockwave, but the engage is all too strong and the Trundle is going to fall down. Subjugate not enough to keep him alive, as now Pawn just waiting behind that wall. Teddy checks the face of Marta and Deft. Teemo play goes down. That's onto Marta as well, but thankfully has the ultimate, as now they're going for the turnaround. Teddy has to stand united on top of him, but the stopwatch is too good. Deft misses the auto, but finds it in the end, and KT Rolster, they answer. It's a 1-for-1, trading the jungler for the awesome dude bottom lane.
Marta baits him in, but does it actually mean they still lose Baron? Pawn knows about this one, but holy crap, it's fast!
Yep, that's what 3 Mountain Drakes are going to do for you. 3.5 minutes of that Baron buff now, as Void Seeker is going to miss. Okay, we'll see whether Pawn can do enough damage. He certainly can, as the Shen is going to melt. Realm Warp is available. Smeb, he's got Mega Gnar looking for this one. Stops some backs. What's he going to be able to do with it, though?
Maybe get them an outer top lane turret, but no more. Pawn was aware of it, but there's nothing you can do against 3 mountains. Holy moly, that Baron exploded.
That was despicable amounts of damage. You're absolutely right.
Well, they will get some turrets, so some gold goes the way of Deft, and that's perhaps a happy news story, but the Baron going the way of Jin Air is certainly not ideal. They're stealing away some buffs. They're getting some things across the map, but gonna have to disengage Baron for 2 minutes 40, and that's the big objective Jin Air wanted to pick up.
Yeah, and we'll see whether KT can now control some minion waves, as Jin Air have complete control of where to push these ones. Teddy not going to be able to have a Baron, so that is probably good news here for KT. Can't use him in any split push scenario, but it was probably going to be So1. It was doing a bit of a 4-1 as they push these purple buffed waves towards the KT base.
Teddy rolls through. Like you mentioned, the AP from the Baron with the Death Cap would have been some nice calculation. One of the calculations KT actually messed up on is when they tried to turn onto the Vladimir, they forgot there's not enough attack speed onto Deft at the time, so it took them a really long time to kill the Vladimir, even though the stopwatch bait from Marta was good.
Pawn's going for a bit of a split push here on the Rise. He's done a bit of this. We call it suicide. For the team,
Oh, come on, he only suicides 50% of the time.
well, maybe he's going to think against it. Maybe this is a new and improved Pawn.
The other 50% of the time he gets caught.
No, he dies. 50% of the time he suicides, the other 50% gets caught. This might be getting caught, or he might be able to just turn it. Onto Grace here, as he's got 3 items as the Rise. Score's moving on over as we've got a bit of a fight here towards the bottom side. Smeb has to flash into the 1 versus 1, and Stand United's going to make it 2v2 down here as Score turns up as well. Stand United's interrupted, but now Jin Air trying to fight on the other front as well. Teddy in there trying to burst out Deft and should be able to do so. Dashes over. Oh my god, Deft turns it on its head, but is the explosion damage going to be enough? Supercharger is good, and thankfully Crimson Rush is there for Teddy to lock down that kill. Jin Air do manage to grab themselves the tower on the bottom lane, but there's a Rise being pesky clearing out minion waves there as well.
Oh, they even have time to mark him. Will they find the right brush, though? Gonna face check the first.
Oh no, he pops his head out. Okay, Dance Barrow should be.
Hey!
Oh! Born turns it on its head in the 1v1. Can he find the passive yet again? He does so as so on. Not enough AP to make that one work, but thankfully the minions were buffed by the Baron buff. That's the pawn we wanted.
Classic pawn right there. He wastes a lot of Baron time. Don't forget that. Baron is down to 30 seconds. Orianna gonna take the Infernal.
And
wasting the Baron time has a lot of merit. Consider, you push up with Baron with 3 Mountain Drakes. Those turrets die real fast.
Yep, and these are... yeah, they haven't been near the turrets because KT's been pulling them all across the map.
You know what that was? That was some tactical inting.
That was some tactical inting. And I was just going to mention the fact that we were talking about Pawn either getting caught or suiciding. Suiciding is the good thing, because generally he's suiciding to take a couple people with him.
He's absorbing pressure.
Oh, I love it. It's like saying that someone's play was unique or interesting.
They're zone controlling with their ultimate.
The zoning hero play.
Hey, Score is the king of zoning glacial prisons.
Yeah, glacial prisons, true. He can't do a
This man has never hit a glacial prison.
Can you do a zoning subjugation?
He's going to try.
He's going to try, see whether he can make that
if you can
work.
pick it up in a team fight call, I'll be impressed.
All
And
right.
look who won the Baron buff war.
Oh
the power
my.
plays for KT.
There we go. That's what taking 2 turrets.
That's lulling them into a false sense of security. Emphasis on the lull.
Oh, it's
This is
exactly
another
what this game
immaculate
has been.
macro performance by KT Rolster, in case you guys were wondering.
Do you know what the ridiculous thing is? I think that there's a high likelihood that they can win this game. Unless the spectacular inting is going to be good here from Pawn. But nope, he's going to be able to get himself out. Has some buddies with him as well. Invites them back to his place for a couple of brews and maybe a board game or 2.
Was there ever any doubt this game would go this way? We
Nope.
were both certain.
We were both absolutely
I'm sure plenty
certain.
of KT fans who've come on the hype train recently thought, oh, it's just Jin Air. And we were like, oh, it's just Jin Air.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, if this is your first time. This is a pretty brutal awakening into the way of being a KT fan. But you had to experience it at some point. They're staring down the barrel of a Bloodthirster cannon as well, with about 1 billion different forms of on-hit damage. It's Jin Air. I mean, we were talking about this before. It's going to be difficult for them to siege with this composition. They've already got a Baron, and they still haven't broken through the inner turret in the mid lane.
I had a chat to Gorilla earlier today and asked about this series. Is KT going first? He said, no, I believe in Jin Air. He's done interviews about Jin Air since Kingzone lost to Jin Air. And he specifically had faith in and Teddy. So apparently, in and Teddy, everyone trusts.
Well, definitely Gorilla. But I feel like when KT lose, they're the ones that decide to lose a lot of the time, and this game is feeling no different from
Pawn
that.
is doing some tactical play.
Oh, yes. We haven't decided whether it's inting just yet. It's KT looking to try and go for the re-engage. Remember, this is a 2 versus 1 as may have to use his ultimate. He does so. Shockwave is going to catch Pawn, but puts him right back into the Lamb's Respite. Oh, God. Good flash at the last second. Gets Pawn out of the way as the ball not going to find him. There are now 3 members chasing after the professor of the top lane. Okay, Grace, he's going to soak a Q and finally gets rid of the Rise.
Are we sure that he got his degree?
Was that tactical?
Well, we can't really say
If
it wasn't inting, so...
I mean, if it was tactical, then I think
Well,
he
was
got
it more
the degree.
Darian or Marin is the question
There's
we
a
have
lot
to
of
ask.
people that I've really wondered about who have got degrees, though. I mean, remember it only takes P's to get degrees. And Pawn's name starts with P.
Well,
Yeah.
his summoner name.
This is some Wheaties packet levels of degrees, though, for the Rise.
I think Pawn is next leveling League of Legends for most of his career.
I know.
Just like
I
Genja,
know.
you know? I feel like
Yeah.
Pawn is the second Time Lord.
Oh my God, we need to have that video back again. Do you remember the one, the Illuminati Genja, who just knows everything? Baron is going to spawn yet again, though. We'll see whether KT can actually stop this one from going down in a split second. So one's on the bottom side. They're not going to have the cannon damage, but he's going to threaten that split push.
Pawn is back up, but doesn't have teleport. Realm Warp up wasn't used, I believe was on cooldown for the majority. But he's fighting without Banshee Veil. He wasn't getting out.
Yep.
He himself gonna slowly trottle down to bot side. Man, using the Kindred mark on Pawn is usually a really good move.
Yeah, that's going to get you a lot of value. So Grace is going to move forward. There's a cheeky little ward that survived for a very long time. Thankfully, the control ward down from Nova is going to spot that one out. Score. The cheeky control ward in the back of the pit.
They
Great
do
timing.
this one real fast.
Yep, Flash is available here for Score, who can get himself into the pit. Is now Nova. He was trying to gatekeep. Oh, God, that pillar. Beautiful timing is now... Oh, wow. Smeb and Fawn just jump on top of Teddy. Not enough Sanguine Pull. I don't even think he had the ability to use the Zhonya's, and KT come out on top.
You're hooping and hollering like a kid in a candy
I had no idea what's going
wow,
on.
chocolate. Well, you're feeling really happy over there. KT repel the Baron. That's pretty good news for them. I wondered if would use the Lamb's Respite on the Baron if he saw the smite come in from Score. It's probably not worth it, judging on history.
Well, Smeb at half health is going to stand on a ward, which is bad news. He's built for the team fight, though, so he's got a Thorn Mail in his back pocket. Going to keep him alive for now. Sowan's close to 6 items on this on-hit cannon. There's KT getting real frisky, positioning themselves now around this Baron, as Def does one hell of a lot of damage to it himself. Not sure whether it's 3 Mountains worthy, as now Marta lying in wait. Will have the Pulverize. Can he buy enough time? Is the question, as Grace gets booped in, but everyone was on different pages. Do we start the Baron? Do we continue? What do we actually do here, as that's the free pick available? Umpty as well now trying to dance forward as Deft. You know that he can get very aggressive. Yeah, teleport available as Teddy does jump his way forward, but now KT are on the correct side. Lamb's Respite is going to stop Deft from getting the execution, but that's not where they want it. Pawn is going to go down. It's going to be the ultimate coming in from the Shen that seals the deal, and so on. Does have the rest of the damage. Celebration Shockwave. And Jinair, I believe, just won the game.
They definitely did, Atlas. They're going to win this game, number 1. Trying to do a favor for Gen G, who probably are the most benefited. Kingzone Dragon X as well. With these 3 mountains, they look at the turrets and laugh.
Yep, they look at the turrets, and the turrets, I believe, just crumble themselves. As Marta now back in base, but he's not going to do anything about this one. The Nexus is going to explode. 12,000 gold was the lead in the end at 40 minutes, and Jinair, once again, come out victorious.
Of all the games I have cast, that was certainly one of them, Atlas, as JAG GreenWings were able to pick up the first game victory. It was classic Jinair versus KT. Picking the MVP here is going to be a tricky one. A lot of members of Jinair had some good games on their side. Nice jungling performance from Umpty.
Yep.
Everything came together. It did not for KT Rolster. And now the question is, we saw one game of Pawn. It was exactly what we expected. Will we see a second one?
I'm not entirely sure. I personally would love to, Papa Smithy, because that was a whole lot of fun. Despite what KT fans might think, being a KT fan is a pretty easy one if you want to just enjoy yourself, as long as you're not too invested in how well they do or don't do on Summoner's Rift. Let's have a look at some of the highlights of this game.
So Marta was setting up to try to make a big play. Unfortunately, had no health bar instantly. They were still taking the Baron because KT were doing 2 things at once. Needed to turn earlier, but they were trying to bait for Marta to get a big pick. Unfortunately, they were the ones who ended up being baited. Vladimir gets backline access. Doesn't really achieve too much in the backline, but wastes time. The minion wave's already here, and that minion wave is what is ridden by Jinair all the way to a Game 1 victory. If KT Rolster to go top, they can still do it with any match win, but they need to find 2 games in a row against Jinair, who are looking to go back-to-back. Griffin, and then KT.
Yeah, they are taking names, denying top spots left, right, and center. They may just be Gen G's ticket to a number 1 finish here in the LCK. However, it's not all said and done just yet. KT Rolster have a chance to fight back in game number 2 and bring us 3 glorious Jinair versus KT games. Oh, Papa Smithy, this is exactly what we were expecting. If you didn't expect this, you're a little bit crazy, maybe a little bit overly optimistic to the clean play that KT are capable of, but often opt out of.
But isn't it nice when you return to your comfort food of KT with Vaughn and it's exactly as you remember? The nostalgia isn't needed. It's exactly the same. Vaughn's back in, nothing has changed. Vladimir is an awesome dude, did plenty of damage, well-deserved Game 1 victory for JAG GreenWings.
Yeah, and that man there standing, Umpty, great performance on the Kindred in the early game. Got 2 successful ganks, one after the other, that honestly felt like it put the game in Jinair's favor for the entirety. There was some craziness, there was some weirdness. That's exactly what KT are able to offer, but it's not enough in Game 1. We'll see whether it's enough in Game 2 after the break.